everyone, and we are live. Welcome to the How Can I Support My Child series. It is a beautiful Thursday evening, that time, and welcome to the first episode of our October series of How Can I Support My Child series. We started the series a few months ago, and we were having we made it a daily series at the beginning. We're having it every day in the mornings, okay? And then our audience was like, okay, can we have it in the evening? And then we moved it to the evening. But the ultimate goal is to have a series, also have this platform and opportunity where we can answer the questions that parents ask about how they can be better parents, how they can make the best of their opportunity as parents, how they can make the best of the gifts of parenting, right? And how they can make the best of the time that they have with their children to help them become the best versions of themselves. So in this series, we will be answering the questions that parents ask us. Instead of answering every parent every time, okay, we decided, why don't we just have, a session like question, and everybody can partake, or everybody can, of course, get their answers to the question. And today we have another interesting question, and we will be answering this question in the next 4 episodes. Yes. So the episode we are looking at is, how can I support my child to succeed in independence? How can I support my child to succeed in independence? And the second episode we are looking at is, how can I support my child to succeed in independence? And the third episode we are looking at is, how can I support my child to succeed in independence? And the fourth episode we are looking at is, how can I support my child to succeed in independence? Hopefully we can get that sorted. It's connected. All right, we're back live. Good. So yes, that's the topic that we're dealing with today. And for the first episode, we are looking at for the first episode, we are looking at cultivating independence. How can we help our young children cultivate independence? How can we teach them to start leading themselves? All right, so that's the first part of this 4-week series that we are going to be dealing with, how we can help children cultivate independence, how we can get them to that place where they begin to lead themselves. I'm going to give you a few seconds to invite your friends. Why don't you go ahead and invite your friends who need to be here and are not here right now? Do you have a friend who needs to be here? Why don't you share a link with them on Facebook? Okay, why don't you share a link with them on YouTube? All right, and why don't you go ahead and tag them on Facebook, on Instagram? Why don't you send an invite? All right, and let them join us as we try to answer this question that parents have asked about how they can support their children. All right, if you're catching the replay, let us also know that you joined us and you are catching the replay. Let us know that you are a part of the conversation. According to Maria Montessori, independence is the greatest drive for a young child. Every young child wants to be independent. Every young child has been wired from the beginning to be independent. So independence is a part of our being. Everybody should be independent. And nature has been programmed to help your child become independent. I've said this, in the past, that nature's work is to ensure that nature has got a mandate to ensure that everybody becomes independent. Nature has got a mandate to ensure that your 1 day old child becomes independent. So every day in the life of the child is one step towards independence. Every day in the life of your baby is one step further to becoming independent, because the ultimate goal is that every human being, every animal, as a matter of fact, becomes independent and is able to navigate through life on their own. We are not meant to depend on other people for the rest of our lives. Yes, as much as it is with humans that when we are birthed, we are one of those few animals that, will depend on our parents for a long time, or for a relatively, long period of time. But then again, it is still nature that you become independent gradually. And so a child wants to push themselves, a child wants to do, a child wants to move, a child wants to become independent. As I said, it is the greatest drive of a young child to become independent. And while working to achieve this independence, children develop a sense of, or they develop series of skills rather. All right, while they're trying to be independent, while they are pushing and driving themselves, against all odds, they are building a series of skills, right? They are building a series of skills, and they are mastering those skills as they are building them, right? And guess what? This is the best part of it. Most of those skills are developed through play. Yes, so children will get the mastery that they need to become independent when they play. So the more your child gets to play as a young child, the more independent that child will become. The more play that the child achieves, right, the more the child is driving, or is moving towards self-direction or self-leadership. All right, and so we are saying, if you're going to help your young child cultivate independence, then play has to be a big part, or a big factor in the child's life, basically. All right, so let's move on. If you are here, don't just be in the background. Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you have joined me, and let me know that you are a part of this series. Let us know that you are here. Shout out to you if you're here, and if you're catching the replay, thank you also for joining us. All right, so play is the language of a child. Play is the work of a child. A child wants to play, and while children are playing, they are building skills. They are developing mastery. And it is this mastery that will help the children start leading themselves. So what is your role as a parent? Our role as parents is to ensure that we create the right environment. Our role as parents is to ensure that we understand the process of a child's growth, that we understand how the child is developing, and we understand why the child does what the child does per time. Our role is to understand how the brain of our children work. So we say, therefore, that a child's path to leading themselves in the most authentic and the most effective way is play. Let me repeat that. Play is therefore a child's path to leading themselves, a child's path to learning how to lead themselves in the most effective and the most authentic way. All right, I am going to be sharing with us in the next few minutes what it does to a child when the child is guided and led by the parents to begin to lead themselves gradually. All right, at this point, I want to say to you, dear parents, that your child can lead themselves at a level at every phase of their life. There is a level of independence. There is a level of self-leadership that can happen in every child. The challenge is, are you going to allow the child, are you going to allow the natural instincts, right, that kicks in for a child to lead themselves? Are you going to allow it happen? Are you going to create the environment that is safe, the environment that is stimulating, the environment that calls the child to do his job, which is to play, of course, the environment that calls the child to do their job? When you create the environment where the child is allowed, the child is given the tool to go to work, the child will go to work. And that is it. Work for a child is what translates to self-leadership. Work in the child is what makes the child able to lead themselves. Work in the child is how the child is introduced to cultivating independence. So, what will happen if you now understand this as a parent and you begin to support your child to achieve all of this? The first thing that will happen is your child will develop a good sense of self. The child will begin to see themselves as someone who is capable. The child will see themselves as someone that is able to do all things. All right. The child will see themselves as someone who can achieve on their own. So there is something that comes with you being able to achieve something on their own. As a classroom teacher, I always say to my parents, all right, I always say to my parents, why don't you give the children the opportunity to do their homework by themselves? And when I say do their homework by themselves, I mean without the child work on their own. What it does to the child is it boosts the child's sense of achievement, because it is different when you have done it all by yourself and when you have been assisted. See, there is something that is natural that happens to you when you achieve a feat on your own without anybody. You know, there's something inside that tells you this is my achievement. All right. And so the level of confidence or the level of self-esteem that the child gets from doing it on their own is different from what the child gets when the child has been held, when the child's hand has been held, or the child has been told where to go or what to do. Take it. I mean, the child can celebrate the fact that they have won, but there is something. This one is innate, all right? It's an innate sense of achievement that you get when you do it all on your own. Remember, our children are just mini versions of us. They are human beings, full human beings. Bring it down to yourself. You have this project. The office, sorry, let me turn this. All right, so the office, or you work somewhere and your boss looks at you. You know, I like to use the analogy. If you follow me, you know, like that. I like to use the analogy of a boss and you being a subordinate. I think it gives light to, you know, your child's position, your position, and your child's position. You know, very, it gives it good, I mean, it gives it more sense, right? Because I always see children people that can be under us. So that's how it is. All right, a lot of us as parents see children as people that can be under us, and so we think we can get away with a lot of things, you know, when it's our children. So it's like that whole boss and then subordinates, you know, relationship where your boss can just give all the orders and it's your responsibility to carry all the orders. In many cases, you're not even supposed to ask questions. In many cases, the boss acts like this is my territory, and if you don't want to do as I say, move out of this place, like drop your resignation and move. So sometimes without knowing it, that's what we do with our children. It's like, I am the mother here, I am the father here, this is my territory, you do as I say, you know. So that's why I like to use that example. All right. Now, think of that boss that has decided there is this big project that has come in, a project that your company has been looking or waiting for, anticipating. And the project comes in, and the boss calls you in and says, you know something, I believe, I trust, you know, that you can handle it. So go ahead and execute. Now, the boss gives you autonomy, allows you to execute this project, depends, I mean, trusts you completely, and then, of course, gives you that, you know, what do you call it? Whatever of trust. All right. So it gives you that free hand to go ahead and execute. And then you do this, you do an excellent job at it, come back, and because of you, the company is tossed in good light. Tell me, okay, that's one case. And then you have another case where the boss has given you the job, and every day, I mean, every other day, the boss is like, where are you? And you're like, you're here. And it's like, are you sure this is what you should do? I think you should follow this other way. And then you come and say, oh, okay, yes, sir, yes, sir. And then you go, you change what it is that you were doing and go the route of the boss. And then after another 2 days, it comes again. Where are you at? It's here. Okay, I think you should. At the end of that project, I promise you, when the result comes and the company is put in good light, you will not feel like it is totally your achievement, because you know that all of the ideas, I mean, and this is different from teamwork. I mean, it's different when we're in a team. Sorry, I need to just turn this on to me. Sorry. All right. So it's different if you're working in a team and, by team efforts, every member of the team is, putting in their efforts and all of that. And then you come up as a team and you win. But when it is that whole boss kind of thing, the boss handed this project to you and is still there being the one directing the project, you don't get all of the confidence that comes with it. And so the next time you have a project like that, it's not the same confidence. I mean, you wouldn't attack that project. Let's say, for example, you're giving that project because, he was the lead of that project, or he led that project and all of that. And as a result, you're given a bigger project. You will not execute, or you will not attack the next project with so much confidence, because somewhere at the back of your mind, you know that you didn't achieve that project on your own. It was still the boss that was on top of it. So it's the same thing with the children. When our children are given tasks, whether it's homework, small projects, or our own expectations and all of that, and we give them the chance to go ahead, believing and trusting them, saying to them, I trust you, okay? I trust you to give this your best shot. And if you give it your best shot, it really doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, even if the child doesn't get it 100%, but then you can see the effort that the child has put. You can see that the child has tried, and you have created a system where the child knows that if this gets difficult and you need help, you can come back and ask for help. When this is the case, you realize that the child will build a sense of self. The child will build a sense of self-worth. The child will finish that project, and the child will feel, the child's confidence will be boosted, right? It will take a leap, right? The child's, sense of self, the child's self-esteem, and that's where confidence comes from. So yes, when we allow our children to direct themselves, when we allow them cultivate independence, when we allow them to lead themselves, that's one of the things that happens to them. They have a good sense of who they are. These are the kind of children that are not easily bullied. See, our sense of who we are is our sense of competence. It is how competent you are that makes you feel confident. It is how much you know that makes you open up your mouth in a gathering where people are talking science. It's because the reason you will talk is because you know what you carry on the inside. So most time when you see people in a gathering and you see some people not saying anything, don't just conclude that it's because they are introverts or because they don't like to talk and all of that. A lot of the times it is the subject matter that is the issue. They probably do not know so much. In many cases, they don't know enough to feel confident enough to contribute in that conversation. Have you not found yourself in that place at some point or the other? All right, so that is it. So if you don't know enough, you don't feel competent enough in an area, you will not willingly step into that ocean. It is troubled waters, or it is strange waters, basically. But when you are confident, you know that you are not afraid to step in. You're not afraid to be a part of the conversation. That's what we are talking about. So when our children are allowed to do things for themselves, when our children are allowed to try things, when our children are allowed, to believe in themselves, that's what happens. They get a good sense of who they are. So they are not easily bullied. They are not easily swayed. So they are not the ones that cower in, to peer pressure. It's not very easy to pressure this kind of children, because many times the children who put pressure on other children, it is because the pressured child is looking up to the pressurer, right? The pressured child is usually looking up to the pressurer. There is something that is bold and confident about the pressurer that allows you to think that this person knows what they are doing, or this person knows better than me, or this person has more sense than me for me to leave everything that I know and follow them. So if you have not gotten a good sense of self because of your competencies and because of your achievement and because of how robust your because of how robust you have been affirmed from home, the kind of love that you have from home, if all of these things are not in place, children like this will second guess themselves, or children who don't have this will second guess themselves. And it is because you are second guessing yourself, because you don't achieve these things on your own. The nanny does it for you, Uncle this does it for you, Auntie that does it for you. So when you see your friend that is doing everything on their own, something tells you that dependency in you makes you turn towards them. And then, in the absence of mommy and daddy and auntie, the people that you depend on, because there is a dependency part of you that has been exercised by people doing everything for you. So when you see a new person to depend on, the child turns and begins to depend on the person, whether this person is their age mate or this person is younger than them. It is the need to depend on other people in the child that makes the child turn towards these people to depend on them. All right. So, but if you start introducing, the child to being, independent and all of that, the child develops a sense of self and doesn't do this. Number two, it helps the child develop a sense of obligation towards other people. Have you seen these kids, right? Have you seen these kids in the playground? Okay, I'll be using these examples in playground because I'm a teacher, right? Have you watched children? It's not even necessarily in the playground. You can actually have your kids when they go out to play dates and all of that, So our daughter is very choleric. Okay, she's a sanguine, right? She's a sanguine and she has, a bit of choleric part, but she's a full sanguine, the life of the party kind of child. Now she's also a little on the big side, right? So she's also a little on the big side. So although most of her classmates and her friends are older than her, she sort of looks a bit bigger than them because she's on the big side and all of that. And then coupled with her personality, her temperament and all of that. So she tends to be that leader. And then she's a natural leader. And of course, she's also a strong-willed child. So there is that tendency, right? So when you see our daughter in the midst of, younger children, there's this instinct, there's just this thing inside of her that makes her begin to take care of them. All right, so she's constantly taking care, as in she's constantly taking care of younger people or taking care of people that seem smaller, and all of that. But you would think that it's because of her body. But what I've come to realize is because she feels that she is able to, because she feels confident in her abilities. She's done a lot of achieving. She's won a lot at many things. So she feels like I can do anything. Do you get? So she feels like I can do anything. I can actually, why am I sweating so hard? Man, and it's not caught here. All right. So she feels like she can assume the ring lights. The ring lights can be really, and it's so close. Maybe I should move further. Oh my goodness, I'm sweating. All right. Okay, so sorry, let's not get distracted. All right. So she feels, so something tells her I can, so can you carry the child? Yes, I can. So sometimes you even see her struggling with a big child, but something in her head tells her she can, because she's one, because she's constantly doing things, because she's an achiever, do you understand? So when we allow children, become independent, or we allow children on that journey where they're doing stuff for themselves, where they're achieving things on themselves, where they are expected to achieve, when the expectation is that you can self-lead, you can self-direct, and they have done this, you have acknowledged their effort, you have praised their effort, all of this is giving a boost to the child's confidence, it's giving a boost to the child's sense of self, it's giving a boost to the child's sense of self-sufficiency and all of that. And so children like this do not back down and say I can't. Children like this they feel an obligation even towards other people. So if you come into my home, our daughter, I have a almost 15-year-old son. But if you come into our home, the first person that will probably approach you and say, would you like something to drink and all of that would be our daughter. All right. There's just this whole sense of, yes, her brother will do it too. But you see, because she's just maybe coupled with her personality also. All right, but there is just this sense of I can do it, I can do anything, I can achieve anything. All right, nothing is too big, nothing is too much for me. All right, and a lot of times that comes from a place of self-sufficiency, comes from a place of independence, comes from a place of I can take care of things. So that's what, allowing your children be independent, that's what it does. That's part of what it does for them. All right, the next one is, I've talked about this a little, is self-confidence. Okay, the moment children become the moment children are on that path to being independent, the moment the children are given expectations, the moment the children are allowed to try things on their own, the moment the children are given, they've been directed, they've been modeled to, okay, and they know that you have expectations of them, and they've been, given a sense of responsibility. All right, the moment they're in that place, you realize that they become very confident people. All right, and you know where confidence comes from. Confidence comes from a place of self-sufficiency. It comes from a place of good self-esteem. When you have a sense of, a good self-esteem, I feel good about myself, I think I am enough, or I know that I am enough. I know that I have a right to be in this room. I know that nobody has more right to be in this place than I do. I know that it doesn't matter, who this person is, what they have, what they don't have, what they look like, and all of that. It really doesn't matter. This person has got equal right to be in this place as I have gotten. Right? It comes from a sense of I know who I be. Do you understand? I am enough. I am comfortable in my skin. I do not have to be the next person. I do not have to try too hard and all of that. When that is it, it means that your self-esteem is full. It is loaded. Now, it is when you have that kind of self-esteem that in that room, you are bold to open your mouth. Because if every other person has got a voice in that room, then you feel I equally got a voice. That's where boldness is coming from. Now, if there is a need to stand up and stand for something, okay, if there's a need to take a stance on something, because you have a good sense of who you are, you're able to stand and say, okay, yeah, this is my voice on this matter. This is what I think. That is what I think. See, boldness. So that comes across as boldness. That boldness is coming because your self-esteem is full. So that's what we do to our children when we allow them do things for themselves. Because while the child is doing things, the child is discovering. Children are explorers. Maria Montessori calls them young or little explorers. So children are little explorers. They are little scientists. They are little discoverers. They are little innovators. They are little. So the more your child is innovating in their mind and in the small things that they are, through their hands-on activities during their playtime. So if you know that your 3-year-old, your 4-year-old feels like an Albert Einstein, then you understand this sense of self-esteem that I'm talking about. As far as your 4-year-old is concerned, he is as good as the Wright brothers. As far as your 6-year-old is concerned, he is as good as Michelangelo. When your child draws that painting or does that picture or does whatever it is, and you put it up there and you're like, oh my goodness, good job, well done, you have made great effort here. If you keep practicing like this, it becomes better. If you know what that does to their head, to their mind, and to their sense of self. All right, so in the child's mind, he is as creative as this person. And so your job is to ensure that the child it's not about the child, it's about their effort. So when you praise the effort and you raise the bar, the child is trying, the child is doing it independently, being confident in their achievement and all of that. As all of that is happening, this is how the child's self-esteem is doing. He's doing like this, he's doing like this, and all of that. And it's that self-esteem that makes them walk into any space and boldly stand for something. And when you are boldly standing for something, that is confidence right there. So that's where confidence comes from our sense of self, our self-esteem, and all of that. Now, this is what we do with the children that we work with in the Mastermind Circle. All right. Have you heard of the Mastermind Circle? It's our peer mentorship and accountability group. In the Mastermind Circle, our 6-year-olds come in. We take children who are 5 and 8 months. Okay. And the child is 5 and 8 months old in December. We also take those children. All right, 5 and 8 months already. So because by January, February, they become 1. All right, 6 sorry. Now, when they come in, that's what we do. We give them a sense as you come in that you are here for you. So you should listen, you should hear me talk to the children in the mastermind. I tell them every time, when you're coming for my next meeting, I'm like, how you doing? What's wrong with you? Okay, Auntie Maribel. Okay, looks like mommy asked you to come for this meeting this time. All right, I'm just going to let you be in my meeting today. The next time you're coming to this meeting, make sure you come for you. Make sure you come for you because you are the pilot of your life. Mommy, daddy, mentor, and Maribel, all of us, we are co-pilots. We're just sitting next to you. You are the driver of your life. You are the pilot of your life. Now, this is what your 5-year and 8-month old begins to hear. This is what your child is hearing at age 8, at 6, at 7. Many times when the children stay with us, one cohort in the mastermind, the next year they come. Somewhere in their head, they know it's not daddy, it's mommy. It's not mommy, it's me. By the time the children stay with us, 2, 3, have children who have been with us in the mastermind 3 years, these children are 100% flying on their own because they know, they understand completely that this isn't their parents' life, it is their lives. So they are living it, understanding that fact. So the earlier we get children in that space where they are independent and they begin to see themselves as the drivers of their own lives, the earlier better for them and especially for us. For us and especially for them, rather. All right, this show is for 30 minutes. If we stretch too much, we'll make it 35 minutes. So let's go 35 today while I take you through what you can begin to do as a parent in your small space today to help your child develop a sense of independence and self-leadership. Number one, get your children in the space where they can start making small decisions. And I'm talking about your 2-year-old. I'm talking about your 3, your 5, your 8, your 10, your 13-year-old. Share I am mama, preteens, and young children. So yes, I'm talking about your young children and up to your preteens. This would also apply for your teenagers if you have teenagers who still have these gaps in their lives. I say to parents every time, the journey of parenting is not the journey of perfection. So when I hear people say someone is a good parent, I smile. When they say, oh, you're a good parent, they're a good parent, I just smile because I don't even consider, I don't introduce myself or go about, looking at myself as a good parent per se. Right, but hey, gladly, I'm a parent on a journey. I'm a parent gladly, on a journey. And because, of course, good parents, because when people start talking good parents, it's connoted as a parent who is raising a good child or a parent who is good at raising their children. Because there isn't a final destination per se. At every point during your parenting, there are gaps. If your children have gotten it in one area, I promise you, if you look closely, you will realize that there are other areas that they have not gotten it. So your job is to position yourself. Be present enough to identify the gaps and the areas where they have gotten it right and the ones where you need to move your energy to next. In those 18 years that you are actively parenting, your job is to fill in each of these gaps in the lives of your children. So, at every point, there are times I was saying to someone yesterday, my niece or the children, I think it was my niece I was talking to, and I told her, as far as studying on his own, my 14-year-old had got nothing to do with how our son studies and everything. Nothing, zero input. I don't know what his books look like. I don't know. I know I see his books when he's working, but I don't know what he's learning. I don't know any of those things. He has cracked that code. We have won in that area. He is able to navigate and direct himself in this area. Recently, he wrote Junior WAEC, and then he wrote the Cambridge checkpoint, for year 9. He wrote all of that. Those 2 exams were exceptional. Like, he came in like right there, sitting pretty. None of them did I or his dad have to impute because we have cracked that code. We started early and that part is done and dusted. But can I say this for every aspect of his life? No. There are areas where he is still struggling. There are areas where he is doing a great job at and he's still growing. There are areas, even in the studying and academics, we can't even say he's perfect. We're saying, as far as that area is concerned, we do not have to, hold our breath or anything like that. So that's what parenting is about. Is you being active, an active soldier. Active soldier. I read somewhere, a quote recently I saw, I think earlier today. It says, Homeschooling. I hope you know that your child is homeschooling one way or the other if you are an intentional parent. All right, because you are a partial homeschooler. Is it because they go to traditional schools and all of that? They still come back. It is your job to still educate your child because there are many dimensions of education, not just academics. All right, so it says that homeschooling is tough, not because homeschooling is tough. It's because homeschooling is parenting effectively. Homeschooling is intentional parenting. That's why it's tough. So if you are parenting intentionally, I salute you. You are a homeschooler. When they call people who are homeschoolers, join them. We're partially homeschooling. I mean, do you understand? So you have a curriculum. That's why you should create one. We have a robust curriculum in the Mastermind Circle as a curriculum that will stand any school's curriculum, I dare say. Well-tailored curriculum, and we're walking through these children through this curriculum. All right, because the fact is, if you're going to change anybody, you must pass them through a curriculum. All right, so this is it. All right, so these are the things that we're looking at, and these are the things we're talking about. Dear parents, position yourself so that we can help these children. The more independent they are, the more they can direct themselves, basically, or lead themselves, the more they're able to start directing themselves. All right, so small decisions, two things, two items, pick from these. Which one would you rather go with? The white one or the blue one? Let them make small choices like that. Let them make choices like, what should we have for dinner? Let them pick. And when they pick, go with it. Make sure you have already, gone through it and you know that these two options, anywhere it goes, you are fine. All right. They don't know this, but you know this, and then put it before them. When you're doing this, they are beginning to do you know, even in my work, I've gone so far with making my children make decisions that even in my work, a lot of times I will ask them, what do you think? Many times my children are the ones who choose, book covers, who choose. My children read my stories first before I publish my story. They read, as in I make them read I write for children. So I make them read. When they read, they come and they give me honest feedbacks. I have had to go back and redo a whole chapter of a book before because my 9-year-old daughter, at the time she was 8, did not feel that chapter. And she is the one that my daughter is very analytic. She goes into her stories, and all of that. Because she didn't feel that, I went back and I redid that chapter. Our son will look, do you understand? So when they feel that powerful, who wants to come and tell them outside that you don't know anything? How? All right, so that's it. So make them make small decisions like that. All right, set expectations for your children. Set expectations for your children. Don't set rules. Set expectations. All right, and those expectations, let them be driven by your values. What are your values? If your children know your values, then your children know what should be done and what should not be done. All right, the children begin to connect their values and their actions to principles. You won't be lying at this point. It's not you. That's a good thing about principles. They have roots, and so you can take them back to those roots. That's how you take them back to scripture and all of that. Not you turning your home to a place where you're constantly judging them and using scripture to flog them. No, don't use scripture to flog your children. Create what do you call, create values. All right, have those values, and then let those values be anchored on principles. Okay, let those principles govern the expectations that you have of your children. And so it's easy for them to go on their own to check them out because they are roots, and it's not you, it's not just you. All right, so when we do this, then our children, how did Coach Wendy put it in her book? So when we do that, our children have I can't remember anyway, but then when we do that, they have, they internalize it basically, and they own it. All right, that's it. Set expectation. Number one. Third one is teach your children how to manage themselves. All right. Create routines, schedules. Let them have routines. Let them have schedules so that they can manage their activities. All right. For instance, right now, the children, I'm not seeing them, but I know that my children are studying right now because it is time to study. All right. No. They would have finished studying. I'm just looking at the time now. It's 1:40, 7:40. So I know that they are in the kitchen right now, and dinner is most likely ready, and they're waiting for me to finish this class so we can eat. So create schedules, and those schedules and routines are to help you not micromanage your children, so that with or without you, your children are directing themselves and doing the right thing. So that structure becomes how they exercise their independence muscle. So because they can direct themselves to do these things, because the structure says this is what we're supposed to do. As they do this gradually, they internalize and it becomes a part of them. And before you know it, you're not there. Your children are directing themselves all the way. Isn't that what self-direction is? To take initiative and do these things without people dragging. All right. So the next one is responsibility assignment. Assign responsibility to your children. Let them know this is your child. This is your task. Harvard studies has it that children who start doing chores early turn out to be more responsible adults and they have more focused life and they actually turn out to be more successful. Elon Musk did lots and lots of tasks. Okay, read his story. Read about his mom. She will tell you how each of the children had to. By the time her kids were 12, Elon Musk's mom. By the time each of them was 12, they already had what they were creating. They already had, their areas of, interest, and they were already creating on their own in those areas. Yeah, greatness is not exactly born, it is nurtured, right? It is nurtured. God has given every one of us skills. It's how we help, talents and gifts. It's how we help these children nurture this that will help them become the best version of themselves. This is what we do in the mastermind circle. If your child is not with us in the mastermind circle, you have 6-year-olds to 13-year-olds, please bring them to us. Bring them to us because we are building a solid foundation with the children. We want to partner with you. It's a relationship. We will not abandon them for us and go away. No, we will do it together. So the message is entry. We are nailing it. But more than anything, we are building a solid foundation. By the time we graduate them from the mastermind at 14, I promise you, you will have a grounded child, solid foundation that is not afraid to navigate or to lead themselves if you're ready to do the work. All right, we are here, very ready. All right, and it's very easy to get the children in that space. I am a child motivator and support expert, so just give your children to us. After a few weeks we will get them in that space. For you, do you have the energy to match all of this energy so that we're working together? If you are ready, then let's go. All right, if you're ready, let's go. All right, the next two I'm going to be talking about is modeling. Of course, we can't overemphasize you modeling. You want your child to be independent, self-direct, model these things, set expectations for them, and then teach them to take responsibility for their actions. What does that mean? It means that there is room for failure. Allow your children fail. Give them opportunities. Set expectations. And in those expectations, make sure that the expectations are expectations. They will win some. They won't win some. They will get some right. They won't get some right. And create that room and allowance in your home that when they don't get it right, we are able to sit down and reflect. We're able to sit down and do a reflection. Why didn't you? Or what could you have done better? What would you do differently next time? And all of that. And when this happens, you are teaching your children to take responsibility. So it's not a case of something happens, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. A person that is constantly denying, falling short, is not able to direct themselves. It's not able to lead themselves, not to talk of lead some other person. For you to lead yourself effectively, you must be able to take responsibility for your failures and for your wins. So let them take responsibility for their wins as much as they take responsibilities for their failures. All right, thank you. I wasn't even seeing the comments. Good evening, Esther. How are you? Good evening, Coach. Thank you, Abel. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you. All right, so that is the size of our show today. All right, I will try my best to be keeping this show at 30 minutes. It's hard. So let's make this show a 45-minute show. I think we should. Let's make it a 45-minute show, 30 to 45 minutes. We'll try. All right. So yes. If you like your child to be a part, look at my mastermind parents. I have mastermind parents right here. If you like your child to be a part of the mastermind circle, I promise you, it's such a robust community. Your child will be blessed and you will be glad. And you'll be blessed, as they make their progress, because they will make a progress. They will make progress. All right. So I said to the parents in the mastermind circle, I can't promise you that I will take your child to a particular height, but I can promise you one thing, that your child will move from point A to point B, because that's what education is. Transforming you and moving you from one point to the next point. All right. So if you'd like to be a part of the mastermind circle, we will soon close registration for the mastermind circle soon, because we already started the new cohort. But we are in that space where you can still join us. Okay. You can still join us. Your child can still join us. The mastermind is less than 6,000 naira per month. less than 6,000 per month. It's a whole year subscription. So you get to be with us. Your child gets to be with us for a whole year, the entire year, from now to September of next year. The child gets to be with us for just 70,000 only. Okay, if you do the calculation, you realize that that's less than 6,000 naira per month. All right, you will not, there's no wonder you pay that. It's not even the size. You can't even buy a whole pizza with that anymore. That's the price of a quarter pizza in some places, maybe a half pizza in some other places. So look at that. All right. Apart from that, if your child has a lesson teacher, you know that is not even the 70,000 is what you pay some lesson teacher for a month, isn't it? In fact, the cheapest lesson teacher, you probably pay that too for 2 months or thereabouts, And this is what we are doing live. We're not teaching. It's not lesson. We're doing life with you. You're doing life with your child. We're doing life with you. It gives you access to us also. So we are supporting you as a parent, and we are working with your children diligently, and the accountability in the mastermind circle is nothing like what you know anywhere else, I dare say. All right. So get your child on board to join us. You still have some time. The moment we get the slots that we have full, we will shut down. But in the meantime, we still are enrolling. So you want to get them in right now. Do you have our books? Are your children reading? Please, if your children are not reading, get your children to start reading. Begin to introduce them to other genre of books apart from fiction books, Diary of a Wimpy, and all of that and all of that. Okay, begin to gradually introduce them to books that will sharpen their minds, give them a sense of, more than just the superficial things that happen. You don't have to force them straight up. You can read this with them gradually until you get them to that place. You can read together, shared reading. All right. So we have Destined for Greatness, amazing book, one of my latest books. Our books are beautiful. They are enticing. The pictures are welcoming, and the stories are loud. So all our books are stories that, the children can relate to, and then there are lessons embedded in those stories. All right. So we also have Wisdom Stories for Champions, amazing. And then my very first book, Bedtime Stories for Champions, amazing, amazing. Young and Money Smart. We work with children's head, brain. That's where we go for. It's not about just money, money, money. Here, mindset. 7 year and above, your child needs this. Unlocking Excellence, right? A student's guide to success beyond the classroom. Who says it's only A1 and A2 that your children need? There are other dimensions of education. This will help you. I reviewed this book with the children in the mastermind last month. My senior partners, it was amazing. I've reviewed this book with over 1,000 children. It's such a beautiful book. Your child needs this book. All right. So we also have Christmas Stories for Champions. Please, this story tells all the Christmas in Onitsha land and the one in Kaduna, all those stories, beautiful stories of what Christmas was like for us. It's not a religious book at all. It's just about Christmas and beautiful pictures, lovely illustrations. I don't know how to do nyama nyama books. Every one of my book is just beautiful. All right, then you have children. You want to teach. I talked about stimulating your environment. This is it. Lots and lots of activities that you can do with your children to stimulate your environment and call your children to play. And yes, our journal reflection, let your children begin to reflect. 365 days for just 3,500 naira. A journal that is tailored for your child. Okay, you will not get it cheap like this anywhere. Even these simple ones, how much are they? Do you understand? So you can imagine. All right. And then my only parenting books. This one, I told the story of how I started off as a parent. Okay. How I navigated those early parenting, days, how I parented for the first 10 years. Here, beautiful. And here you can put all kinds of lovely notes for your children in this journal. We have 12 templates that you can use to plan your parenting, and of course record all the beautiful events in their lives. It's so durable. You can hand this as a legacy to your child so that they can use this to parent their own children. Okay, later. It's such a beautiful book. I've filled my children's own. Even me, I look at it. My daughter comes, takes this book, and just has fun with it sometimes, just reading, what it was like when she was 2, when she was 3, it's a beautiful book. All right, so these are our books, and you can order them on Amazon, or you can send us a message to order them. They're all hard copies. You can get them on Seller, order them on Seller also. Okay. And you can pick up from a city closest to you where we have our pickup point or we have one of our distributors. Thank you very much for joining me today. I do not take it for granted that you allow me be a part of your parenting journey. The next part of this series will come up next Thursday. So keep a date with us at 7 p.m. every Thursday. Okay, we will run these 4 episodes, and at the time we're done, you should be able to raise or guide any child to begin to take steps to direct themselves. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Bye. Bye, everyone. Coach, can I chat with you privately? Yes, you can. My number is always out there, but that's the number on the screen. You can use that to chat with me. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone. Bye.